Since we filmed and edited our preliminary task, we have developed our knowledge and understanding of camera shots, editing, and the use of mise-en-scene and sound, which is evident through the comparison of our preliminary task and final task. Throughout our preliminary task, the variety of camera shots we used was limited. This is because at this point, our knowledge of different camera shots was also limited. The shots we used consisted mainly of long and medium shots, as well as over-the-shoulder, shot-reverse shots, and two shots. However, when producing this video, we didn't actually know that we were including these. When producing our final task, we took special consideration into what shots to use and when, and what effect this would have on our audience. For example, when introducing the main characters to the audience, we use medium shots where the character is looking directly at the camera. We used this technique so the audience felt properly introduced to the characters and knew who to expect to be in the rest of the video, but also to cause the audience to question the character's reliability, conforming to the mystery genre. Editing was a big problem with both the preliminary task and the final task, as I only had the option to use iMovie and I'd never used this software before this project. Because of this, the editing of our preliminary task is very basic and simple, but before editing my final task, I asked a media studies student in the year above to show me some more complex tools on iMovie. I think this benefited the editing of my final product, particularly sound and dialogue. On the last scene of my final task, I also discovered how to place an effect on each of the videos. I added an effect called Day into Night. I added this particular filter to suggest a jump into time to the morning after the party, as well as to set the mood and tone of the events of the murder. The sound of my preliminary task is noticeably of bad quality. The dialogue is mostly unclear and the music is not relevant to the events of the video. However, I considered my preliminary task more of an experiment, a task that allowed me to play around with iMovie and figure out how to manipulate the sound throughout the clips. Conversely, in my opening sequence, it's clear that my understanding of how to edit and manipulate the sound has increased. For example, in the cross-cutting scene towards the end of the clip, I managed to overlap the two sounds and change the volume of each as and when necessary. Also, the end scene of the dead body, I muted the volume of the original clips and instead edited in bird noises. I used a diegetic sound rather than non-diegetic so the audience had a sense of realism of the product and possibly to be able to relate to some of the events. As our preliminary task was filmed and edited within school, we had limited control as to what mise-en-scene was presented throughout the video. We attempted to make it look like two old friends bumping into each other for the first time in a while, and ending relatively badly. Due to the restrictions of settings, it was difficult to incorporate this within the short clip. However, for our opening sequence, we had much longer to plan and film it, and therefore much more consideration was put into the choice of setting and what we wanted to convey to our audience. After careful consideration of settings, we decided to film in an everyday house so the audience could somewhat relate, as well as to make sure that unpredictability of the dangers of alcohol are that the events of our film could happen to any everyday person in an everyday house. Overall, during my progression throughout this course, I have learned various things. I have learned how to edit videos and sound using iMovie on a Mac, how to use and manipulate sound within this editing, how to incorporate both sound effects and visual effects into my opening sequence, and how to use many other technological platforms.